Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We're about to get started, so it's going to be a very tight schedule today, so going in between different meetings and different sessions today. We are going to have some people coming through, so it looks like it's standing room only, so we're going to have a few people at the back, so please forgive the squashiness of the room. Looks like this is a popular session. So for the next 45 minutes to 50 minutes, I'm going to take you through emerging and future technology. A lot of this talks about what's going to happen over the next 10 to 20 years, and specifically for the next 10 years, how it can help you prepare for those technology changes. So, quick introductions. My name's Damien Cummings. I'm the Chief of the Digital Strategy and Leadership Practice here at NUS ISS, which is a very fancy way of saying I'm a lecturer. So I lecture on topics around emerging technology, digital transformation, strategy, and so on. Like all of our practitioners, all of our lecturers, we've been here and done it before. I've spent about 30 years in the digital space, much of that time in big corporates, Global Head of Digital at Standard Chartered, Chief Marketing Officer at Philips, and so on. But for the last 3 years or so at ISS, what I've been doing is really looking at the trends around technology, looking where digital is going to take us, and trying to figure out what's going to happen over the next 10 years of exponential change. So, I'm going to take you through some pretty speculative stuff. Some of it could be true, some of it might not end up being reality, but these are things you need to prepare for. But, why am I doing this? I want to take you back in time to give you a sense of do technology trends really take hold? Is there a level of skepticism? And I think there can be a level of skepticism, but also want to take you into the future. And again, if you could think about where 10 years ago or 20 years ago was for you. 20 years ago, there was barely an internet, no social media, certainly no Bitcoin, blockchain. AI was really a dream. A lot of the technologies we take for granted, like cloud, didn't exist or were emerging. The last 10 years, we've seen the emergence of a whole bunch of new technologies as well. And we're starting to see an exponential change. So I want to keep this as your theme moving into this. How can you, if you had a TARDIS or a time machine, go back in time to prepare for the next 10 to 20 years? But first I want to take you back before I go forward. Taking you back in time to the level of skepticism people have over new technology. So back in the 1993, there was a new technology that was launched into fast food chains. The ability to actually pay by credit card. Of course I can. Yes. So this is the reaction to credit cards being introduced to pay for Burger King in the 1990s.
The Home of the Whopper is offering cash or credit.
I think it's pretty bad if you have to use a credit card when you get a fast food restaurant for something as little as $3.10.
If I use my GM card, I get a 5% rebate. If I leave your home, I'll be able to buy a pickup truck.
Burger King bosses say workers will have to figure out how much change the customer gets back.
I just hope it doesn't slow things down at the cash and carry, that people are going to be having to call New York and get the confirmation or whatever it is. Because when I want a Whopper, I want it now.
There's another way to spend money. I'm sure it'll work for people on vacation when they don't have to do something, but I can't imagine it working on a day-to-day basis here.
So far, the smallest credit has been for $2.50, the largest just over 10. Jamie Costello, News Channel 2.
So imagine going back in time and thinking about this crazy idea of using credit cards. Now we can't live without cashless payments. So everything I'm going to tell you now, treat it with a grain of skepticism, but what's going to happen is that technology comes in clusters. These clusters are actually going to be major changes in your life. So try to suspend disbelief. Some of it might be real, some of it might not work out the way we're talking about today, but it's all going to have an impact in your life one way or another. But I need to talk about the idea of the singularity and what that means for us. So we are actually moving through exponential times. You might be feeling it now. Over thousands of years of human evolution, it's gone pretty slow. Over the last couple of hundred years, the Industrial Revolution, and now we've gone through the information age. Now we're heading towards something called the singularity. The technology singularity, whether it's true or not, is really about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence will eventually surpass human intelligence, and it's predicted to be in the year 2045. Now, what does that mean? Right now, we've got very simple generative AI that can actually produce images, maybe build an app for you or a PowerPoint presentation. But what we're looking for is entering the world of science fiction, where AI has become smarter than a human, but becomes billions of times smarter than the average human and smarter than the collective intelligence of humanity combined. What that might mean is that we can solve the big mysteries of the universe because we have limited capacity to solve them. And after this singularity, whether it be 2045, 2050, or around that time, the world of science fiction opens up. The idea of faster than light travel, molecular nanotechnology, the ability to kind of create things out of molecules, the ability to reverse aging back to your prime age of 23 or 25, and to effectively become immortal, are the positive spins on what's going to happen here. But the singularity is defined as uncontrollable technology growth. We can no longer put the genie back in the bottle after that point. Technology will move whether we want it to or not. So we have roughly 20 to 25 years before that happens. But we're starting to see the J-curve of artificial intelligence being the next layer to drive the next big technology evolution. And you're feeling it now, right? You're starting to feel it. We all are. We're all struggling. AI is now out there. We've got digital platforms. We've got new technology being invented all the time. It's going to get, the next 10 years is going to be equivalent to about the next 30 to 50 years going back in the past. So from about 1970 to the 2000s, we're going to experience that in the next 10 years. So let me talk about the big changes you might see. Is anyone a quantum computer expert here? Oh, fantastic. I can say anything I want then. Okay. Well, quantum computing is going to be one of those big changes from around about 2028 onwards. If you haven't seen a quantum computer, this is a quantum computer. Now, right now, they cost hundreds of millions of dollars to create. They work on something called quantum bits, qubits for short. Right now, they get them up to around about 64 qubits. IBM have said in 5 years' time, we're going to get to up to 1 million qubits. In that time, the price of quantum computers is going to come down, into something which is much more attainable, millions of dollars rather than hundreds of millions. And why that actually has any impact at all on us is because of this. Its processing power is 158 million times faster than today's computers. 158 million times faster. Not 158, not 1,000, 158 million. What it really does is it solves complex mathematical equations, cuts through encryptions simultaneously. This has major impact. If you're working in financial services, you're looking after sensitive data, your cybersecurity is now redundant. Anyone who gets a hold of a quantum computer and uses it as a bad actor can actually kind of steal your data, steal your money, and do all kinds of nasty things. Now, of course, there is ways around that. You can double your password strings, you can double the levels of security, or instead of putting password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it has to be a song or a story or something long. Once upon a time, I woke up in the morning and I needed to set a password. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, blah, blah, blah. But we're going to quickly get into a world of very unwieldy passwords, and cybersecurity is going to be a challenge. I'm also not suggesting that your laptop's going to be replaced by a computer in 5 years' time, but it will happen soon. And this processing power is going to lay the foundation of almost everything else. This is definitely coming. If you wanted to invest in something, put some money into quantum computing. The next big technology change. Smartphones are becoming obsolete. Now, it's funny. You feel like we have this kind of glass rectangle in your pocket. Now, have you ever wondered why you carry around a glass rectangle in your pocket? Those of us old enough to remember house phones, landlines, curly wires connected to something else. We had privacy. Someone had to call up, hey, is Damien home? No, he's out. That was the end of it. Couldn't get a hold of me. Then, of course, before 2007, we saw the cool kids had a Nokia or maybe a BlackBerry with that cool kind of physical keyboard. Apple launched the iPhone in 2007, and it opened up a different type of interface. The ability to kind of touch screen and access content like music, iTunes, or later apps through the Apple App Store. Now, we don't use them as phones. They're WhatsApp machines. They're a window for you to access apps, content, and data. So why would we get rid of them? Well, Apple has even said that they're planning on making the iPhone obsolete around about 2032. Now, it's over 50% of their revenue at the moment, so it's a big call. What are they going to replace it with? Augmented reality, a wearable device. It could be something like a pair of glasses, though it is littered with failures. Google Glass, Snap Spectacles, more recently, or very recently, Meta has launched something with Ray-Ban, a pair of sunglasses with AI packed with augmented reality features. So, but Apple are just launching something called Apple Lens, and it looks like this. It's a clunky pair of goggles. I don't expect you to be walking down to the MRT with a kind of a helmet from Apple on. That would be silly. However, I can imagine in a very short time that instead of actually using your laptop or a desktop, you sit down to your cubicle and put on your goggles and use that in a work environment. That's going to happen. Now, the issue is more of a cultural one. Eventually, it's going to get down to contact lenses, eye drops, or something you put on the side of your head, directly feeding stuff into your brain. Again, that is not science fiction. This is coming soon. And we're going to see this is the new technology for the 2030s. Now, what are the implications for this? If you've built a website, you built an app, all of that you have to scrap. Because the interface would be a pair of glasses or something you wear. You look at me, you can see my lecturer rating, because NUS lecturers like Grab drivers, we have a 5-star rating. You can see how good I am. You can see my areas of expertise. You can see my LinkedIn profile and other information. All this info will be floating around me. You can click on it, use a thought interface to access that content, etc. But it does mean in a short order, we have to rethink all of our interactions with technology. Traditional websites, traditional applications are all gone. We need to replace it with this kind of more interactive, augmented reality feature. The big one, artificial intelligence. AI is going to be the next foundation layer. The current foundation layer is the internet and digital platforms. The previous one was things like digital infrastructure, like laptops, mobile phones, and so on. Going back in time, it was industrial infrastructure like the steam engine, mechanical gears, and so on. But right now, this artificial intelligence layer is leading to a new cluster of technology. I'll talk about the first one, which is generative AI. I have to take a deep breath here because I'm about to show you some photos of me. So yes, these are more attractive photos of me. Yes, I'm skinnier here. But these are completely AI-generated photos. I haven't uploaded any images. I basically did a text prompt of find Damien Cummings, do a professional looking portrait photo of him. So this is what I came back at. Also, I spend my time writing a book, and I'm doing things like animation, like manga style, and it created these characters from a text prompt. The text prompt is one line. Make a blonde hair, bearded man who looks muscular and a little bit rugged. This is the kind of set of images you'll come back here. If you haven't used things like Midjourney, DALL-E, and other tools, they allow you to actually automatically, from one line of text, create this kind of imagery. Or if you watched Barbie or Oppenheimer recently, or the Barbieheimer phenomenon, you might be familiar with something like this. So somebody typed in Albert Einstein in a pink suit in a pink room. That was the prompt. And a whole bunch of variations of that images were created. Now, generative AI, this is just the fun stuff. Generative AI, if you're a student in university, you might well be using ChatGPT to write your assignments and essays. Believe me, we know. But it is a useful tool. If you want to create images like I have for a manga or a book, again, you can do that as well. In different styles, hyper-realism or cartoon style like I've created there. But it's actually coming into the workplace in 2023 and 2024. Microsoft are integrating it into Office 365. Google are integrating it into their workspace right now. What that means is generative AI can create emails for you, create PowerPoint presentations, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Now again, I don't have shares in Google, but I will show you a couple of videos from them. First one talks about what they're introducing into their productivity suite. So let me recap what you just saw there, because it went a little fast. So right now, this is an AI integrated into the standard Google suite. The first thing it did is catch you up on an email trail. You didn't even bother to read the emails anymore. The AI summarized everything that happened. The next thing is that you, in one line of text, you said, turn this into a Word document, as a brief, based on those emails. There's no human interaction there, one line, created a Word document. The next thing was going through and creating a PowerPoint presentation of the back of that document. Those slides just automatically appeared from one line of text. Inside that PowerPoint or presentation, they created a custom image because they couldn't find something they needed, which is a magical garden with butterflies on it. Then it was using it to actually capture meeting notes during an online meeting. No one loves capturing meeting notes, so getting an AI to do is very useful. Then actually using it to update an Excel spreadsheet with a custom message, and finally to send an email back to her team talking as a bit of a thank you note. This is predicted to actually, for white-collar workers, reduce your workload by up to 80% by the end of next year. So what are you going to do with all that time? Well, we're probably going to have to be more human, I think. So those elements which are human, imagination, creativity, morals, ethics, those kind of things that guide us are going to be in hot demand. The ability for you to do repetitive work is going to kind of put your job at risk. But the reality is my AI is going to talk to your AI. Our emails are going to be kind of done by those people, by those kind of machines. But if you are, and I love this because the reality is I do so many PowerPoint presentations. I write lots of Word documents. And to have an AI to at least do the first draft of that is powerful. Now sure, Microsoft and Google charge an arm and a leg for it. It's not cheap. But I predict that almost every kind of forward-thinking workplace will have a version of this by the end of next year. If there's one thing you need to get across, it's AI. And this stuff that impacts the core of a white-collar job. AI is also learning emotions. So, and this is where AI starts to integrate with robotics. I'm not going to talk about robotics, it's a big topic. But what we are going to see over the next little while is it's predicted to have, I think, 20 million robots in households by 2030. And by 2040, there will be up to 1 billion personal robots in households. we're going to see a robotic evolution, a revolution. But the challenge is robots have been pretty dumb up until this point, until you put an AI inside one. So AI is not alive. It doesn't have feelings, doesn't have emotions, but it's learning yours. Yes, that is the world's creepiest video, but what actually happened there is an AI is put inside a robotic face, and actually it was learning emotions. It was expressing emotions and showing up in the robot's face. So the relationships and companionship area is going to explode soon as people turn away from traditional relationships to want to be with a robot companion. It will never love you back, but what it will do is kind of pretend to have those emotions. And it'll be a pretty interesting societal change through the 2030s and 2040s. Robots are coming. I'll show you this quick video. These are very basic robots right now. So those are the basic robots that are available now, and you've probably seen there's some on NUS campus here. There's a robot in actually some of the cafeterias and restaurants that come around, very kind of simple robots that deliver your food to you. There's been a driverless bus around NUS for years and years, so these kind of AI and robotics have been in society for some time. But the AI is really going to be the next kind of platform to enable robotics to the next level. So what I can imagine, particularly in the 2030s, is we're going to see every household who can afford it with a robotic helper that will help them go through the process of putting away dishes, walking the dog, lifting heavy things, but with a brain that can actually help you with complex algebra tasks, your work, and so on. It'll be a pretty interesting time. Is your job at risk? Yes. Short answer is yes. Let's have a look at that. So it's predicted by 2027, so 3 or 4 years from now, there's going to be 69 million new jobs created. But that also means that there's 83 million job losses. Net, minus 14 million worldwide. If you're in the admin or clerical space, you're most at risk. If you're in that kind of space, you're likely to lose your job. So think about it. If you do something that's highly repetitive, something which is could be automated quite easily, your job is at most risk. So yeah, it's 26 million of those 80 plus million jobs are going to be coming out of white collar workers that do clerical administrative tasks. Let me break that down more specifically. These are the jobs most at risk. Now, I'll give you the top 5. Now, the good news is I don't think many people in this room or people watching on the video are in these areas. So food preparation, construction, cleaning, driving, and agricultural labor. So if you're in Singapore or a more developed market, it's probably not going to impact you. Unless you're a Grab driver, Gojek driver. That could be a problem. We know that Tesla's been kind of working on AI to actually have driverless vehicles for some time. Moving forward, you can imagine all cars having an AI inside it with a hive mind. So if one car moves left, the other car moves left as well. You always maintain that kind of 3-second distance between vehicles. Cars will move as one entity on the road, reducing accidents close to zero. It also opens up finally for flying cars, maybe commercial drones, but again, if you can network them and they're never going to hit each other, That's the biggest challenge, actually rolling those kind of things out. But let me go back a step. Let me start from the bottom. So I'm sorry, this might be the last presentation I ever do, because teachers will soon be replaced by AI. But again, think about it. So an AI has the access to the entirety of the world's wisdom. They know a lot more than a simple brain like mine can. I think it's going to be a revolution in education. So e-learning, skill-based training before you ever enter a classroom, maybe using it via a digital interface, but teaching is probably going to be more about facilitation, where people come together, have peer-based learning and so on. What I like is this one, upper management and politics. What does a politician really do? And do they deserve $1 million salary to do that? A politician fundamentally makes decisions based on data and has to drive that vision. So you're always probably going to have a human prime minister or president. That makes sense. But key senior ministers in a government might well be replaced by AI in the future. It won't happen in Singapore for the foreseeable future, but small nations might defer to an AI as their president. Small companies might replace their CEO with an AI. And that makes sense more in the upper management of companies. Because the reality is, if you look at, say, Western companies, they're on average getting between 600 to 800 times the wage of an average kind of frontline worker. Do they deserve that kind of money? They have a high-risk job, I get it. But again, could you maybe have a co-pilot with that CEO that could make better informed decisions, again, based on the entirety of the world's data and wisdom? So that's going to actually be an interesting change, whether we culturally accept that or not. But let's have a look in the middle. Science, IT, business admin, customer service, sales, personal service. That's most of the people in this room. That's certainly me. And when I talk about that, it's hard to think, oh, well, you know, generative AI, creating a kind of Barbieheimer, Albert Einstein, or, you know, helping me do an email, that's not going to replace my job. But let me show you another video that it's a few years old, but it's actually by Google again. They were actually rolling out a technology called Duplex, which is powering their artificial intelligent assistant. They've discontinued this Duplex product. They've rolled it into Google Bard and the AI team they have now. But what it is about how to use AI for customer service for those type of jobs. Let me just play this.
As I said earlier, our vision for our assistant is to help you get things done. It turns out a big part of getting things done is making a phone call. You may want to get an oil change schedule, maybe call a plumber in the middle of the week, or even schedule a haircut appointment. You know, we are working hard to help users through those moments. We want to connect users to businesses in a good way. Businesses actually rely a lot on this, but even in the US, 60% of small businesses don't have an online booking system set up. We think AI can help with this problem. So let's go back to this example. Let's say you want to ask Google let's say you want to call a restaurant, but maybe it's a small restaurant which is not easily available to book online. The call actually goes a bit differently than expected. So take a listen.
Yeah, I hear you.
Hi, I'd like to visit the Wednesday the 7th.
For 7 people?
It's for 4 people.
4 people? When?
Next Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Oh, actually we reserve for like after like 5 people. For 4 people you can come.
How long is the wait usually to be seated?
For when tomorrow or weekday?
For next Wednesday, the 7th.
Oh no, it's not too busy. You can come for 4 people, okay?
Oh, I gotcha. Thanks.
So it's pretty interesting. It feels like a human on the other end of the phone dealing with complex situations. So if you're in customer service, I don't think anyone really wants to sit through another bank contact center IVR, press the button, press the button, press the button, press the button, wait 20 minutes, press the button, hang up. So nobody wants that. Also, we're getting used to the idea of chatbots. You're going online to a website, chatbots popping up, but it's kind of a bit annoying as well. No one really wants to go through with Grab or a food delivery company and chat back and forward for 20 minutes, getting an unresolved answer. So this is what's coming. This is about 4 or 5 years old now. So you can imagine what's happened in the background. This has got better and better and better. So when I talk about potential job losses, I mean this. Because if your job requires you to call people up, even do things like sales, it can be automated. If you're in a customer service job where it's reactive, when someone calls you, they can answer those questions. That's the danger. Let me move on. So AI, that's the big platform. So, and again, I've talked about a lot of these things as connected ideas. Quantum computing, augmented reality, now artificial intelligence. And let me talk about the metaverse. Has anyone kind of bought a block of land in the metaverse last year or two? Anyone bought an NFT? Anyone ashamed to say they bought an NFT? Okay. Well, I hate to break it to you, but the metaverse is not real yet. It's more of a marketing gimmick right now. What the metaverse is the Matrix. It's Ready Player One. It's Sword Art Online. You pick your science fiction. But it's an immersive internet that you are inside of. If you're looking at it through a screen, it's not a metaverse. So, and the problem with that is that, so right now you have to put on a VR headset to access it. And I can't imagine, an auntie in Topayo kind of putting on a headset, walking through her room digitally to go to a DBS bank to kind of deposit 20 Bitcoin. That's unlikely to happen. So the interface has to change, the interaction has to change, and the experience has to improve. But right now we're limited by sight and sound. Where it is going to go is when we introduce the idea of touch, and then of course taste and smell. That's when it's going to become interesting. It becomes a truly immersive 3D world. And why would you ever want to leave it? You're better looking, you're safer, no one can touch you if you don't want to. You can explore Mars. If it's photorealistic environments, you could go to Mars, you could explore the universe, you could be anything you want. The idea of entertainment will merge. So movies and games will become the same thing. You could be starring in a movie right next to Leonardo DiCaprio where you're the main character. You can make that movie anything you want because it's fully interactive. You can have superpowers if you want. All those things become a reality in the metaverse. But the metaverse is not there. Intel have said that the metaverse, as the way it's been predicted or the way it's been sold by companies like Meta, require over 1,000 times the processing power of today. But guess what? Quantum computing does a lot more than that. AI will help you create photorealistic environments. As I said, all these technologies stack. So the metaverse might become real in the 2030s. But don't believe me, I'll give you Mark Zuckerberg's version of it.
Over the last year and a half, a lot of us who work in offices have gone remote. And while I miss seeing the people I work with, I think remote work is here to stay for a lot of people. So we're going to need better tools to work together. Imagine a space where you can tune out distractions and focus on the task at hand. And when you're ready to share what you've been working on, you can present it as if you're right there with the team.
Wait, where's Mark?
I think he's in the middle of something.
So again, that's not real yet. It can't be real yet. I mean, those kind of technologies just simply don't exist. But I'm saying that we're laddering up to it. We're laddering up to a 2030s and 2040s where quantum computing gives you processing power. AI will help you generate those beaches, the office environments and so on, and photorealistically generate yourself. Augmented reality, we're testing it now with things like Apple Lens, so we're going to actually have those early forerunners like the Nokia before it became an iPhone. And that's what we're experiencing now. And it's leading to this. A digital environment that you can interact with people, that you probably don't need to leave your bedroom. So we need to develop the interface for that, probably live in a pod, have some sort of clothing you wear that's haptic so you can feel things. And one final video on this, it's no sound, but it's the experience they're currently working on to allow you to touch through the internet. So that's super clunky right now, and this experiment Meta is doing. So with that in mind, did you see what happened? They were picking up digital objects like they were real. They even played thumb wrestling together, and someone's thumb was held down by the other person. They were in two completely different locations. Can you imagine the impact of that in a digital environment? You could play maybe soccer, football with somebody. You could have an MMA fight or a boxing match. Or in the relationship space, I'm not going to talk about that, but you can imagine touching someone through the internet. So that's going to be a huge game changer, because that makes the metaverse something that, for the first time, becomes interesting and becomes something that people want to explore. So this is leading us to, so what? The last slide of today. So you have a time machine. We're moving towards this kind of J-curve of an exponential set of futures. Those futures are going to be powered by technologies that are coming in a cluster. Quantum computing, augmented reality leading to a metaverse, powered by this new platform called artificial intelligence. It's predicted within 30 years that AI will become so powerful, change will be unstoppable. The laws of the universe will be decoded. It could lead to a whole bunch of things, as I talked about. So that's speculative. We don't know if that's real or not. Maybe we put a halt to it. But these are the technologies that the biggest companies in the world are investing in. This is not a local hawker center doing this. This is Google. This is Meta. These are big kind of technology companies putting billions of dollars into this new tech. These are the things that are coming in one form or another. So if you could go back in time and prepare 10 years ago to today, you'd probably buy some Bitcoin, make a bit of money, invest in some AI companies like NVIDIA, maybe kind of do some things differently. You'd probably want to get upskilled in digital skill sets and so on. Now, I'm not just talking about 10 years. What I'm really talking about is 30 years compressed into 10, because that's what's going to happen over the next 10 years. So what do you need to do? What do you invest in? What do you invest in yourself? And what do you need to prepare for? Well, I think the first thing you need to focus on is how to get across generative AI and how you're going to get used to it being your co-pilot, creating documents, checking emails, and so on. That's not 10 years from now, that's 2023. That's right now. People are going to lose their job because of this. People are going to get better at their job because of this. But it's also going to push us to become, paradoxically, much more human. I think what we're going to do is AI is going to send emails to each other, but we're going to do more face-to-face meetings. We're going to need to actually provide a higher level of vision for an AI to make decisions around strategy. So we're going to have to be forced to be more creative, more visionary, and more human while the AI does the hard work for us. So you can't hide behind Excel spreadsheets anymore. You can't hide behind 3 weeks of developing a PowerPoint. That stuff's going to be instant. You're going to need to upskill and reskill. That's the reality. All of us, even those that are deep technologists, are going to be left behind. You're going to have to get used to using generative AI in your day job. You're going to have to get used to doing that in your personal life. You're going to get used to a robot coming into your household in the next 10 years. You're going to have to get used to your computer processing power being so fast it's like magic. There are many, many implications for this. And I guess, what I've said is in the future, so I can't tell you whether this is true or not. This is the best guess. So all of these things might not happen, and I could just be talking nonsense. But at the same time, I'm seeing where the money is going. And the money is usually going to lead to some sort of thing. But remember, Burger King introduced credit card payments in 1993, and everyone thought it was a dumb idea. Look at what we're doing now with credit cards and digital. I mean, cash is almost about to go away, and it has in many countries. If you think, well, it's quantum computing, it's not real. This metaverse, Mark Zuckerberg's kind of smoking something. Well, I'm here to tell you that don't kind of judge things early. Invest in them, think about them, because you don't want to be the person saying that credit cards at Burger King is a bad idea. But with that, we've got a few minutes. Happy to take any questions. Yes. 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 The reason it didn't work is cultural. I mean, you're wearing glasses, I wear glasses. Most of the people in the room probably have access to glasses. So actually kind of swapping those over for a pair of smart glasses is not a huge cultural leap. The reason those kind of products failed is selfies. Nobody likes having a camera pointed at you 24/7. And if my glasses have a camera in it and I record everything that's going on, that's one of the big reasons culturally it didn't work. The other reason is that you can't take a selfie yet. So the technology is catching up. Contact lenses, eye drops, even a kind of something you stick on the side of your head that feeds something into your brain are all possible and being developed now. But I think the issues are about culture. So the big things that are going to make some sort of wearable device successful are going to be how easy it is to use. So if it's daily contact lenses, that's a pain. If you're already wearing glasses, easy. I don't think anyone's going to put on a goggles or a helmet. That would be bad. But I think it's going to be how easy can you find utility in it. Can you take a selfie? Maybe it's a personal drone that flies out, take a selfie, come back. Maybe I can hack into your eyes take a picture of me. And voila, there's a way of taking a selfie. And then if you use that for the things that we use today, it's likely to succeed. But I think the other part of it is that there was no application of it. Right now, if you went out and bought a Google Glass, no one had actually built the interface yet. The reason why iPhone was successful is they'd spent a few years developing iTunes. iTunes had a huge content library, so when phones came around, it was really just like having an iPod with a phone feature. So somebody's going to go out and actually ahead of the curve, develop some content, develop some apps that will be useful for glasses or a visual interface. So right now, I agree with you. No, it won't take off. But I think once it becomes mainstream and people make a big move towards accessible content and cultural changes, yeah, I think it'll happen. Yes?
All these that you talked about would require infrastructure and process changes.
Correct.
There's going to be a delta and an investment involved with this, right? And not to mention the mindset of people conducting this and the diversity in the workforce, with the older workforce plus the younger ones, and with the older generation going to be working longer. So change management is
Correct. Yes.
So has anyone done the delta of how much it will cost for us to say, take some organization at the state where we are in, and then to move them to some of these immediate ones that we can leverage on?
Short answer is no. Nobody's doing that. I think we're stuck in our BAU. It's always like, let's kind of see what happens. Let's treat AI like an experiment and so on. And I think, Microsoft has now got a license of, might be an extra $20 per head count to use their generative AI. But you're right, nobody's costed out the change management elements, the extra bandwidth needed to actually kind of manage this kind of stuff. Not at all. So that's not something I've seen in the market yet. But I think that's the opportunity, isn't it? So if you can become that change leader around this new tech, start with the pricing expert, etc., that's probably a very big opportunity. A great point. Thank you. Yes.
So what happens? Meta was going strong till 2021, and then it took a back seat, and Gen AI came forth in last 1 year. Crypto has been there for the last 5-6 years, but hasn't picked up to that extent.
Yes.
So when you feel how these what will come together, Gen AI, Meta, crypto, and what are the things needed for these to become successful? What are the factors which are missing? What should happen for these to become successful? Then come together to have a bigger impact.
Yeah, blockchain and cryptocurrency in general are a solution in search of a problem. So generally, blockchain technology is a good technology, but outside of financial services where it's basically was trying to kill banks, it's failed to do that. Now it's been accepted by banks, but it's too slow. It's not working at the moment as fast as a centralized database could, and there's too much culture change there. The big banks, the big tech companies don't want to ever decentralize anything. So I think that's going to be a challenge. So I see that as an offshoot of the major technology changes. The major tech platforms are internet and digital platforms leading to AI. Blockchain has kind of gone off on the side, and we'll find some utility over the next few years, but I don't think it's going to become much more mainstream than it is now. Cryptocurrencies, different story. So SEC kind of regulates Bitcoin as a commodity, so therefore it has a future, but all the others are kind of regarded as a security. And as soon as countries get rid of cash and introduce their own digital currency, then that's going to be problematic. But I think that in the currency side of things, all countries will launch their own digital currency at some point, but that comes with some potential downsides as well. So, if you're a conspiracy theorist, you might say they might limit how long you can keep that money, where you can spend it, etc. Is it about control? But I don't think it's going to be truly decentralized. But I think metaverse is more about the next evolution on top of where the internet is going, a Web 4 or Web 5. There'll be usefulness around digital currency. Blockchain will find some utility, but not in this main path of tech. That's what I'm seeing anyway. Yes, down here. Yes. Yes. Yeah, Neuralink, yes. So the short answer is I was very skeptical initially because no one wants to be the kind of pilot customer putting a chip in your brain. That's a bad idea. But then if you think about who it's really for, right now it's for people who are, quadriplegics, people who've got disabilities and so on. That's the only way they can actually access technology. So with that in mind, it makes sense to work with those people. But I think right now we've evolved from browsing-based interfaces using mouse to a voice-based interface using Siri, but the next is going to be a thought-based interface which allows you to do augmented reality and so on. Exactly. So it's a huge thing. It will be what... Exactly. Yeah, so when the Iron Man interface where you kind of zoom things in or out, that had just been the thought. So that's one of those big technology changes we're going to see as well. Yeah, good invest. One last question. Yes.
So I'm in sales.
Okay.
And I don't think that any AI software will replace my job in the next 5 years.
Probably not, no.
Because the examples you gave are very one low-level, single-dimensional type of transaction in sales.
Yes.
So my question is this: you can go back to your chart on AACD,
Yeah.
job losses.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And I presume you're quite familiar with the outlook in Singapore, the environment in Singapore. What do you think will be the biggest impact to Singapore job market, those positions, for the next 3 years?
mid-level admin. So while a senior salesperson is not going to get replaced because they're relationship-based, you need someone to do outbound marketing for you, generate leads, all done by AI. So your support structure, on one side of the fence, it's about post-sale implementation, report writing, contract writing, all the admin stuff that you do, and then post-sale customer service account management. But before that, before you actually meet a customer, the lead generation, the going through a marketing and sales qualified lead engine, again, that can also be highly kind of automated by AI. But correct. So I think what mid-level admin is the one most at risk. But with that, unfortunately, our time is up. So thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you in the next session.